Hello and welcome to this Warno 1v1 game played on Death Row between Chinese name, and I translated this and it comes out to Vivian who will never learn WoW magic, as in like World of Warcraft magic. And they're going up against Lil Goat, who's playing 4th East German against 9th East German. So we'll cover the deck reviews, then the map, the matchup, the deployments, and the game. And as always, timestamps in the description. Right, so this is the deck review for Lil Goat. He's playing 4th East German, probably my favourite division in the game. Although, you know, the new ones are fancy and it's good to try new things. I do like a bit of 4th East German, quite a lot actually. So we'll go through it tab by tab. We've covered this a few times before, so it actually just looks like basically exactly like mine now. So, yeah, that's fair enough, really. Yes, it's very similar. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so yeah, first things first. CVs, right? 3, 6, 7, 8. That's fair enough, really. You can get some tank CVs here, but it would be 3 AP, and this is 2. So I guess it makes sense for it to be like that. Only having 2 cards of supply can be rough if you go late, especially if you like using your arty and whatnot. So yeah, I think I've got 3 cards of supply. But you know, if you're not supply pilled, right? Basically, you should use supply as much as possible because it is free units. But it's hard to, you know, you can't always repair a unit if it's dead. So not everybody needs loads of supply. Not all decks need loads of supply, especially if you're running like air heavy. You might not need 3 cards of supply. So in terms of the supply options, we got a big truck and then the small tracked ones. No small trucks are in the deck. So yeah, I think this is fine. I think that makes sense. I've seen people bring this one, the supply helo, and then the small ones. I don't think that's as good an idea as just bringing the big truck, which is, for starters, it's more cost efficient. 60 points for 2,000 supply. This is 55 for 1,500. But also in 1v1, it's just easier to get it to places without it getting spotted. Whereas in team, the maps tend to be bigger, and so it can be worth having a supply helo. Then we've got yeah, so 8 CVs is a lot. What you can consider doing is like swapping out something like this one for this, because it's literally half the price. So you lose 1 availability, you've still got 7 CVs, and then when you want to buy a cheap CV, it is really cheap. And so you can very easily put that with your Acacias. This used to be called Acacia. They changed the name to make it unpronounceable because... Anyway, 3-wheeled, 2-wheeled, right? You're paying 5 points for less speed, more HP, and a gun. You don't really want it engaged anyway. No smoke, right? If it had smoke, it would make a lot of sense, because that just makes them very survivable. But yeah, I prefer this one. And then, yeah, your options here are literally half the price, but you lose 1 availability. So if you've got loads of CVs, it can be worth looking at these super cheap options. So I would recommend putting this in. It's just personal preference. Then we've got a lot of infantry. So forward deployed CV. This is the only forward deployed CV 4th Mot gets. So it's worth bringing it if you want to do a rush, which is generally what 4th Mot is about. It's about having a very strong early game and then just defending for the rest of the game with a bunch of very annoying units like this Bastions. And then, yeah, FS Metis. So you don't actually need, like, a bunch of forward deployed units. You only need a couple. And so the FS Metis is sufficient, essentially, just to get that good forward deployment. And you can, like, buy a bomber in the first tick and whatnot and really mess people up.
Hello, I like money.
Atua Crafts have subscribed to the channel.
Thank you for subscribing to the channel. And then Motshots and SVD are really good, because the SVD is like 4 rifles and a machine gun is like 2 rifles, so that's 4, 8, 13 shooty power. Motshutson in the BMP1 SP2 is really good. This is so cost efficient for 30 points, it is obscene. This squad is 45, right, which pushes the total price up, but this is a really good squad for 45 because of the Resolute trait, and this is the best machine gun in the game, because 7.62 beats 5.56, and magazine fed beats belt fed. So the magazine fed ones shoot faster than the belt fed ones, because that makes perfect sense, right? So the only disadvantage of the 7.62 LMGs, LSWs, is that they don't fire in the same building. As if you're in the same building, it doesn't fire, whereas the 5.56 ones do. So that's something to keep in mind. But in the open, these are just better. RPG's really good, can one-shot BMP2, nice accuracy and whatnot. Yeah, really good. And this thing for 30 points is just incredible. You compare it with like the M113A1 Dragon or something. I mean, this one's got smoke and resolute and whatnot. It's very, very cool. So yeah, 2 cards of that is what I bring as well. Then regular Mott Shots and BTR, mainly because you run out. You only have 2 cards of this. You used to get more, but that was a nerf to the division. And then grenade launchers for grenade launchering, Unspeakable one, and the Conkers. So the Unspeakable one can be useful, just to like pad out, just because you're supposed to take loads of ground at the start and then defend, and it's like this is also forward deployed, so you can get up there. Sadly, these special forces weapons teams like FS Jaeger, Fallschirmjäger, they used to be called FS Jaeger, they're special forces, whereas the same guys carrying this have lost their special forces status. I don't know why, really. Anyway, and then Conkers. And yeah, I think that all makes sense. You don't bother up vetting these. I mean, this comes at vet by default, so it's actually got 60% accuracy. So yeah, you can like get a couple of these out at the start to help you take the ground, protect it from the tanks coming the other way and whatnot, and then over the course of the game you get more of these in. The grenade launchers are really useful for holding ground as well against infantry. Mortars for smoke, and you bring them in the MTLB because it saves them from counter battery if you load them back in, whereas if you load it into the truck it's got less than 1 top armor and less HP and whatnot, so it tends to just explode. This is also faster. This is faster on the road, but this is faster off-road, and if you're using it and trying to load it up while you're being counter battery, typically you are off-road. And then the Acacias for shooting people, yeah, that's all good. Tank tab, so the reason you bring these at no vet is because you just want them for the Bastion. Really, really good ATGM. You'll note that this also has 18 pen. It gets confusing because it's like this is 18 and it's green, whereas this is 18 and it's yellow, but it's the same. And that will one-shot a BMP2 at super duper range, and the missile's really fast and really accurate, and as they get closer, the accuracy goes up. Then, yeah, so these T55 AM2s are actually pretty good. Ever since the rate of fire went up to base 8, you always bring it at 1 vet, so it's actually always 9 now, and the accuracy's nice. I think the price went up a little bit, but I think that's reasonable because they are very, very silly. And the T55A is good for the exact same reasons. It's got that 9 ROF for 85 points, nice armor, can survive a Milan 2-hit, but not a TOW 2-hit. And the SPW Conkers for sneaking around the back and being annoying. More on that later. In the Recon tab, Recon Helos, and then... so this is why there's no satchels in this tab, if you're wondering. It's because, so more Special Forces, Infantry, so these guys are really good at shooting people, and then these guys get the satchels and smoke. Sadly, the M60 is not very good. It's actually the worst machine gun in the game, because... belt-fed 7.62 would be better than belt-fed 5.56. It's just the American weapons, like the M60, is just worse. The M16A1 is just worse, and that's because the Americans also have access to the M240 Bravo, and which is just the same as the PKP or PKM or whatever, and the M16A2. So in order to differentiate the older American weapons, they just made them a bit worse than the newer American weapons. So, see, but it's still 2 machine guns, right? And it's still satchels and smoke. It's just it doesn't synergize well because this can't actually shoot while moving. You got to run up to them to use the satchel, right? And if you're in the same building as them, then this won't shoot anyway. So they're still a really good squad. It's special forces and whatnot. And then yeah, this is for sneaking around the side and annoying people. So the idea is that you take the ground at the start, and then you just sneak around the side and annoy people for the rest of the game, and you can hold up with these T-55s and whatnot. Like this is really good at the start of the game for taking that ground, and later on in the game, because this has got the max range gun, this helps hold the ground, and the ATGMs and the Bastions very good at holding ground. You can also get this. I personally, do I bring that? I can't remember. No, unless it's like a tournament game. You'll note that I bring the Gvozdika for smoke. It's just because my smoke mortars keep getting counter-batteried. The issue with the Gvozdika is it's literally more than twice the price. And you see that I bring... I actually do bring more Pioneers. And I don't bring the Mort Schutzen BTR because I've got the SVD guys. And I don't bring the Unspeakable one. But I've got 3 cards of supplies. So it tends to be that I just keep this infantry alive for longer. It's personal preference, right? And yeah, so AA. So this is like a new thing that I've been telling people to bring. The idea with this is that it's really fast. So you use one of these with, one of these if you want, or generally it's one of these and one of these. And you just send this around the side with the AA thing with it, and maybe a supply MTLB Mun just like really far behind it. It doesn't have to keep up. And the idea is that you start shooting people with the Conkers, then they'll send a helicopter to go check it out, and then this kills the helicopter. The only issue you've got is that it's only got 4 missiles, and you need to hit them twice to kill them. And you've got 50% accuracy, so you should hit them twice, but you don't always hit them twice. So that's worth knowing. Either way, it will make them piss themselves and they'll run off, and then you can go, and that's why you usually need like a bit of supply with it. And these are nice and cheap, and anyway, so you could just send those 2 vehicle teams around the sides. I like it a lot. I can't remember if I upvet it. 9 is a lot, frankly. Yeah, I do. Yeah, you should probably because you only get 6 of these, so why would you need 9 of these? It is quite a lot. And then basically, if you're rushing at the start, a lot of people like to bring this because it's forward deployed, but then you're stuck with a forward deployed Strela for the rest of the game when the Igla is so much better. Even at 2 vet, the Igla beats the Strela at Igla at 1 vet beats the Strela at 2 vet. If you want to play more of a frontline game with this div and not run around the side and be annoying, you would basically swap the Strela 1 out for the Strela 10M because it's better at shooting planes and helos, right? Because it's got more range. And you would upvet this by 1 as well. It's just, and it's got more missiles, right? And more suppression on said missiles. And a perfect stabilizer, but it is slower, so you can't really use it to go through a forest and go annoy people compared to this, which is literally 85 kilometers an hour. It's absolutely absurd. So, but it's only got 4 missiles, whereas this has 4, but also 4 more in there apparently. So it is interesting that they would go to war without any reloads in this, but whatever. I think it's more of a gameplay thing. And yeah, Iglos we spoke about. Helos, so I bring a Kokon Firer as well. You can try and build this div as like a Helo spam div as well. Like, keep in mind, so if you got rid of this, you would have 3 AP. So like, do you need 2 cards of bombers and all this? I stack it on the air tab. But if you got rid of that, you could actually get 4 more helicopters. So, it's up to you. But yeah, you need a Kokon, in my opinion, because at the Flanger it's got nice pen. Like, they used to have low pen, but then they upped it for some reason, so the prices had to go up. But the missile's very slow, and it's less accurate, and it has less range. So it's less accurate, even less accurate at the same range. But yeah, the missile's very slow, so it just takes ages to go there, and then it tends to miss. They've got lots of time to react. But this is only 1 per card, right? The gun's nice, though, right? And you got to choose between more rockets or more Kokons. I think I bring the one with more rockets. I can't remember. And then the air tab. So yeah, you need the MiG-29. This is still the most cost-effective fighter in the game. Although, ever since the Sparrow ranges went up, I think the Phantom, the 185-point Phantom's very cost-efficient now. Because it's got the same range as this, although the accuracy is lower and the Sidewinders aren't as good and whatnot. But it's 185 points. But yeah, this is still very, very, very cost-efficient fighter. Perhaps the most cost-efficient fighter in the game. Best medium range... The long-range missiles, I guess, would be MiG-31, but I guess we can call them very long-range missiles. Anyway, best short-range missile in the game, best medium or long-range missile in the game, depending on what you're feeling. These are really decent as well for the price. Sadly, it's like 7th gets one that's got more accuracy on the missiles, I think, and more range. But this is still very nice for the money, I think. I think it's very nice. And yeah, so this can one-shot a heavy tank if it drops on it. This is more useful against infantry. I believe I bring the rocket plane instead, because I like firing these big rockets at people because they reload really fast. So the payload on this is more effective, because rockets tend to bug out if they're in a forest or something. It's really annoying. So I bring the MiG-21 BIS rocket and just deal with it, or BN rocket. Whereas the MiG-21 Bison HE is... It's got a better payload, but this can reload in 16 seconds, and it's more survivable because it's got 10 HP and whatnot. And and it's cheaper, and it's the same availability, but I just sort of cope with the fact that it can't hit things if they're in forests. And this kills the heavy tanks. Seed to keep your air alive, right? Very important. It's also really good against healers because it's got the Sidewinders and nice ECM, and the guns on it are really good as well because there's 2 of them. And then this, right? So basically, you don't get the Su-22 AT plate anymore. So your choices are this one or this one. And a lot of people, they see the rockets and they're like, well, why wouldn't I just get rockets as well? This doesn't work properly because it flies so low to the ground to engage with the rockets. You never get the range off on this missile. Whereas this, like, it's got more ECM, so it's a bit more survivable. But it flies a lot higher. And what you can do if you're good is you can evac it just before it shoots the missile. And if you've got a seedplane up, there's basically no way they can kill you if you micro it properly, because the seedplane should be out, and then this should get its payload off and then evac, at 4225 meters range. Whereas this can't fire from that range, even though it says it can, it just won't, because it's flying so low to the ground. It's very difficult for it to actually see the target until it gets on top of it. And then yeah, you can evac this just before the missile shoots. And you just hit the first one in the convoy, and it'll shoot at the first one in the convoy. Very low accuracy, but the idea is you're only firing one missile. You back up in 30 seconds to do it again. And I use it in 2s typically, right? And so you fire in 2 missiles, so it's actually 70% to hit him once. And you will miss a lot, but it's a lot of fun to use. Sadly, it used to be 4 availability, and then Balance Man saw me doing this, and he lowered it to 3. That's like... Anyway, that's long ago, wasn't it? Gotta move on, Hippie. Can't keep dredging that up. Then his opponent, who has a Mandarin name, which I couldn't be bothered writing out here, is playing 9th East German, which used to be even better than it is now. It is still very good. It's just the T-72s aren't completely underpriced anymore. They're still very cost effective. They're just not as ridiculous as they used to be. So Napalm Grad means you need 3 cards of supply, so these are the only 3 cards of supply you can bring. Obviously you don't bring a 4-bit 1v1. So big truck, alright, really big truck. So it's even bigger than the T813 on 4th. And then medium truck, which is a really nice supply card. They all bring 6,000, but something like this is like, or even like the 35-point ones have a little bit less supply, but yeah, they're cool. Then he's gone for 3 tracked, and then 4 more tracked. So I think that's a mistake. You're going to be very far behind at the start. I think you should probably buy this for 95. I can pay 5 points more to be slower and not have a gun, but have HP. There's still 3 availability. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Just get this one. Infantry, or you can just accept that you're going to arrive second and just be slow. And that's fine too, right? That's fine too, because this div generally is slow, because you got to save up for this. And then you sort of hit them in the mid-game with all the T-72s and whatnot. So yeah, this can happen. This can also happen. You don't get a Conquer, so you're kind of forced to bring the Unspeakable one. And then I completely disagree with bringing a 50-point Conquer's vehicle with bad stealth and 3 armor. I just don't think it's a good idea. Because like this is almost half the price. So you can only buy 2 of these in a minute. You can buy 3 of these in a minute. No, can you? 70, 140, 210. Yeah, whereas this would be 190 plus 95. It's probably not going to work out, yeah. For 10 points more than this, you can get a BMP2, which is just so much better. So why bring this BMP1 with a Conkers? I mean, I've seen people do it. It can work. I just think it's ridiculously cost inefficient, and this is so cost effective that you should always bring this. So he's pretty aggressively upvetting these. It's all tracked. None of it's wheeled. I suppose these are wheeled, right? No pioneers, which is just a terrible idea. So what happens when you get to a town? Yeah, you can use this, but sometimes you just need a satchel, so I think this is a mistake. So it can be worth keeping this, because sometimes you need a wheeled infantry with AT, but you've actually got... He's bringing this in there. Okay. I suppose you've got a wheeled AT here if you really need it. I mean, but yeah, it can be worth having one in a truck. I would just consider, you know, downvetting this, because you want as many BMP2s as possible. So that's, you know, 2, 4, 6, 1. So you've still got 1 more infantry than you had before. And then you can bring some pioneers in the SPW-70. It's a shame these don't come in that. And because what happens when you get to a town? What are you going to do? You can't always just rely on the napalm grab. That thing reloads terribly. So I think you need some pioneers. RT, so mortar with smoke, I mean, it's just literally the same thing. It's literally the same thing. And then you've got the napalm grad, which is very expensive. You've always got to have a CV with it. So it might make sense to bring this, but keep in mind that this is actually a wheeled vehicle. So this would keep up better on the roads than this, which would be left behind. And yeah, being near it with a CV upgrades its reload time, reduces its reload time. Very cool piece of kit. Expensive to buy, but it's very, very worth it. Then, not a whole lot of tanks in this tank div. I suppose it's because of all this infantry. So, like, do you need this? If you've got a bunch of BMP2s and BMP1s, this is a 3-point slot. You could get 2 things here. You could literally just get the Malyutka P, which is useful, and some more tanks. Or you could even get rid of... Grenade launcher's useful on the defense, right? I would get rid of this personally. I don't think I'd bring it on my 9th. And there you go, you've saved 3 AP. And now you can fill these. I think everything else is... Yeah, I mean, you could get an extra plane or whatever if you wanted, but generally the idea is you could get... There you go. So you've still got a bunch of ATGMs. You've got... You know, it costs 5 points more. It's got a different use case, because I mean, it's better at shooting, but it dies faster, but it's faster. Right, so it is a bit different, right? These can be... They're better if they're in a building, right? If you're in a forest, you actually probably want this one. So yeah, and then you can get some more tanks, right? I wouldn't 2-vet this. I mean, you can if you really want, but that's your best tank. So what? You only get 1 card, and then you can get some T-72M1s, right? Or you know, 2 AP, right? You could ta-da, right? Or well, that should be upvetted anyway. Yeah, that's probably the best thing that you could do with it. But I would be bringing more tanks. I don't think there's really a lot of tanks here. So there you go. You now got 4 more tanks. These are more expensive because it can survive being one-shot by a 30 AP missile. So that's why it costs a lot more. Apart from that, they're the same. Obviously, the veterancy, right? So, yeah, this tank is absolutely absurd for 245 points, particularly in team games. In a team game, I literally bring it at no vet and just use it for the ATGM. But in a 1v1, you also want it shooting people, so... yeah, very, very cool ATGM. Can one-shot 7 armor. It's pretty absurd. So it can, side armor on these, basically. And it's super fast as well, and very accurate. Very good piece of kit, that. Then you've got the Sturm, which is also 2,800 meters. 20 pen, Kokon. It's not as fast as the Repairer, but it's still pretty fast. We spoke about this tank, and this is just the same, but can't survive the 30 AP missile. But it's got a very nice vet curve, so you can get them at 2 vet, 3 availability if you want. And yeah, the Sturm, right, the Mayuka P we spoke about. Recon, so this has more than twice the DPS of an autocannon for 4 times PKTs, which is absolutely stupid. Spoke to somebody who thought this was a good idea, because it's novel. It's just absurd. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, Motorised Aufklärer. So this could have been the wheeled infantry. Like, you don't really need this if you've got this. But then if you put this in the car and put it at 1 vet, then you don't need this. And then you can swap this to a BMP1. And then, and then maybe you can up vet this or whatever. So, let's just not open that can of worms. Frankly, I don't think this is very good. It's only got mediocre stealth, so it just gets shot, and it's got no smoke, although it's got 3 armor, right? This is the Mayuka M, which isn't as good as the Mayuka P, right? BRM 1k, so you could basically just put this with your tanks. Thankfully, these dropped to 4 availability in the last patch. They used to be 6, which was really dumb, because all the NATO ones are 4. And people would just use them like to scout. And so, like, the fact that this had a higher availability than this, when it's got better optics and more armor and whatnot, was kind of dumb. Anyway, you click this, Shift F, click your tank, it'll just follow your tank around. Aufklärer, I'd be bringing it in the KPVT, so that you've got extra optics, extra stealth. Makes it cost a bit more, but I think it's worth it. Cub, so we spoke about this and how if you want to do, like, punch your enemy in the face strats, it's better than the wheeled one. The wheeled one's not even in here. Cub, yes. Igler, yes. It's the same as the other deck. Helos, this one is also in 4th. And then the Urn. So, yeah, the Urn. I mean, it can be useful at the start for like a funny Helo rush. Whatever. No co-cons, you might say. Well, you've got ground-based ATGMs, and which have the max range, which are very powerful, and tanks to kill people. The Urn, I've been heli rushed by 9th East German before, and I just didn't expect it. You'll note that they don't have any airborne forward deployment. And keep in mind that his main recon forward deployment, he's bringing in a tracked vehicle, so yeah, you can Urn rush people, basically. Fighter, this is the better one than the one that is in... So, like, why are these the same price when one of them is just better? This should cost 5 points more, surely. It is just the same, but better. What is the... No, oh, the ECM. Oh, my bad. This has 20% ECM, and this has 10%, but the missile is better. So it's better at killing, but better at being killed. So maybe it makes sense that they have the same price. Rocket plane. I like the rockets. We spoke about this. Nice ECM, but no Sidewinders. Cluster plane, very good against tanks. AT plane, very good against tanks. 4th doesn't get these. 9th is just kind of dumb, really. I think it's still kind of a bit OP, but at least it's not as absurd as it was before. So that's it for the deck yappage. Now we'll talk about the map, the matchup, the deployments, and the game. And as always, timestamps in the description. Right, so with that out of the way, let's talk about Death Row. Hilariously imbalanced. Red's on the good side, because they basically just get all this at the start. So that's the vast majority of this zone. Blue gets 1 house. And the vast majority of this zone. That's all there is to it. Over here is basically the same. You could argue that blue can get in here easier than red can get in here, but it's literally the same. There's not that much difference there. So, very difficult for blue. And, in terms of the matchup, 9th East German is absolutely crazy on this map. The T-72s, the disadvantage of the T-72s, right, is that they don't have the max range gun. So that's it, basically. Apart from that, they're stupidly cost efficient. They did get nerfed, but they're still very good. But you'll note on this map, you don't need the max range gun. Because, like, so here, for example, you could just basically always shoot across here, because that's 2,000 meters. From here to there, I guess you can't shoot. But if you're here, you know, you can shoot, right? You can shoot from here to most of this. So the T-72s are pretty crazy on this map. So not looking good for blue already. As for, you know, 4th East German, what have they got going for them? They've got forward deployment. So if he gets a really good deployment out, then maybe he can reverse his fortunes. Like, so he could attack Elena. It's probably the best one to attack. You attack Elena, and then you get up to here, and then can sort of shoot across. But yeah, T-55s into T-72s is really depressing. It's just so depressing playing against T-72s on this map. Anyway, let's cover the deployments. So, 9th East German doesn't have any airborne forward deployment. And so typically you'd bring the Motorised Aufklärer in trucks, as I spoke about in the deck review. He's chosen not to do that, so he's going to get there very much second, and like these aren't armed either. So they've only got recon deployment, and he's brought them in slow tracked vehicles, and this one isn't even in the armed vehicle. So his deployment's quite weak, frankly. The idea is you show up second with a bunch of T-72s, typically 3, and then you just kill everybody with the T-72s. So that's the idea. So Motorised Aufklärer to here, or Mechanized Aufklärer, I suppose, to here. Regular Aufklärer, another Mechanized Aufklärer. The Adder, which has twice the DPS of an autocannon, more than twice the DPS of an autocannon, with 4 PKTs. It's very silly. And 2 30mm grenade launchers, one for here and one for here. A third 30mm grenade launcher. And then the idea is big armored fist, 3 T-72s including a command. So only 1 CV purchased, and it's only getting Anna, so he's missing out Boris and Santa and Elena. Okay. 2 BMP 1Ds. I don't like these personally. 50 points for a Conkers is not ideal. You might as well just pay 10 points more on getting BMP 2, or go for the 30-point one with the Malyutka, which is very cost effective. Strela, Cub, Supply. That's about it. Switching to his opponent's deployment, we've got Lil Goat playing 4th East German. He seems to like this div a lot. I do too. I think it's a good div. Nice fun div. Very motorized and whatnot. 2 forward deployed CVs. 1 for Fedor and then Elena, presumably. And 1 for Dimitri and then presumably Anna. Typically, if you're playing on this side, you would open 1 CV and you would go Dimitri, Fedor, Elena. Because there's not much chance of you getting into Anna at the start. And you want to keep your deployment as strong as possible to give you the maximum possible chance of getting into all of Elena. You basically have to fight them for this, which they should get to first, but because of the way he set up his units, he won't. So you got to fight them for this, and so you need as many points as you can. So losing an extra 110 points on a second CV, which is only going to cap 1 zone, and then you're just going to basically have it sat around, unless you do come up here, but generally that doesn't work out. Is a bit wasteful. Unspeakable 1 for the left. But these are all forward deployed, keep that in mind. So that's the advantage, that he has airborne forward deployment and his opponent doesn't. So maybe this can work, right? I'm surprised he's putting it there, because you can't shoot down here, so why not have it there anyway? Still shoot down there and can hide and whatnot. I don't see the advantage. I guess here you can shoot over here, but yeah, I guess that's it actually. 2 more unspeakable 1, but you put in 1 here, so yeah. 1 for here and 1 for here, and then presumably you'll move it up. 2 FS Jaeger Metis. Okay, so he's already taken that house. Generally, I think the FS Metis should be in here, and the unspeakable 1 should be in here, but whatever. And then another FS Metis going to Elena. Behind that, SPW Conkers going to the left as well. And okay, supply for the Cub. 30mm for the left, 2 mod shots and BTR, 1 for the right, 1 for the left, T-55A, Cub, as we spoke about. And on the right, 2 more unspeakable ones. Wow, he's buying a lot of these. I mean, they don't do so much against T-72s. I believe they might do 1 damage, maybe 2. So, yeah, it's just a big investment. And then a Metis. So let's cast the game. Let's see how this goes. Right, so they're off, and it's time for me to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get their names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. One joined at the lowest levels worth 2,000 views in terms of ad revenue equivalent, so if you feel bad about your ad block, it's a great way to support the channel. This is my sole source of income, so that's why I shill like my life depends on it, because it does. Currently trying to finish off a PhD. It's taken a very, very long time because they're not letting me submit my thesis, because they say it's not good enough, which is not fantastic. My funding ran out, and they're still not letting me submit it. So that's why I shill. I shill because I must. So the adder intercepts the Voldemort, and yeah, you see, like, so what is this going to do against that? Do you know what I mean? Whereas the FS Metas would win, right? Because he could shoot him. So it's sort of got this backwards. I think there's too many of these, frankly. I think, like, so like this one being here makes sense, but you know, why put this here if you've got this? Guess it can make sense, but you don't need both of these. As you can see, the adder immediately killed the Voldemort because it's got twice the DPS of it. I need to do a video on that. It's just really dumb. So he did actually manage to get a CV into Anna. So there you go. What do I know? So keep in mind that this has 20% ECM, unlike the 1/9 gets, which has 10%. But the missiles are worse. So he flies around to get shot at again. I'm not sure why he did that. I mean, he survived the first one, and okay, well, that was... I mean, he deserved that, really. Now he won't be able to intercept this. And yeah, the FS Metis got caught out in the open here. The unspeakable one's getting some side shots. No, it missed. Even then, it had turned to face it, so I think it would have done like 1 damage there. And you see that he has to immediately leave with the CV, which is what I was talking about. So realistically, I think, you know, maybe, yeah, leave the 1 Mott Schutzen in here, but I think he shouldn't have bought that second CV, and this grenade launcher could be there, I suppose. But yeah, leave like the Metis in here, and then this Mott Schutzen could be over here, and then you just take this as fast as possible. Then you try and get guys either hiding in behind this building, or you get them down to here, and then you can shoot the reinforcements. That's the way you have to do it if you're on this side of the map, in my opinion. So blue on that cheeky +4, because red only opened 1 CV and then bought a bunch of planes and whatnot. So he's got great confidence in his late game capacity here, because you know the game will actually end in 10 minutes unless he buys one. And as we spoke about, these are tracked, not wheeled, so it's going to take him even longer to get there. So I literally called this in the deck review. I don't watch these ahead of time, you know. I just know because I play the game. Anyway, Unspeakable One accomplished very little. And I think he got... So this is why I don't like these 50-pointers, because they die 1 hit to the Unspeakable One anyway. He who shall not be named. And you see the power of the 30mm. It's actually beating the SPW-70. So this is on half HP. Although now the Mott Schutzen BTR is coming in with the double machine gun, I think they'll win. I think blue will win, I mean. And yeah, the T-set... Okay, so they... Oh, that was a Conkers. So Conkers did 3 damage to it. And this is why the supply's here, right? So he actually gets hit only once there. MiG-29 flies over the Cub, because I just don't understand why he keeps doing this. It's a big shame, really. Lost 2 planes to that now. Didn't have to do that. You see red just baiting him there with the rocket plane. And yeah, this roving blob is very, very difficult for blue to deal with. If only he had 2 more fighters to keep this Mi-24D alive. Probably should have been the Kokon one, to be honest, but if you don't have fighters covering it, you can basically expect this to die immediately. As soon as this tick goes... Oh, here we go. So yeah, it's a shame about those fighters going down to that Cub. So he tries to land it, but... Oh, okay. And keep in mind that this has less ECM than the other one, as we spoke about. So you'd expect it to go down here, but hey, what can we say? Warno's all RNG. So even though this has less ECM, it actually survived, because that didn't kill it. Even though the one with more ECM got shot twice and died. This one got shot 4 times and survived. So if it was up to me, there would be no RNG in this game, and everything would just have a wildly inflated health pool, and everything would always hit, unless you break LOS, which I think is fair enough. The only RNG thing would probably be artillery dispersion, because like how else would you model that? If you make it so it always goes to the same place, then people would just know where to aim in that circle. It'd be really dumb. So gotta have some dispersion there. But apart from that, I just give everything 100% accuracy and give everything ridiculously inflated HP, and just say, well, you know, it is actually missing. So, like, make it so the FX shows a miss, even though it hit and depleted the HP or whatever, or you can just not bother and just say, well, look, it's, you know, it's an abstraction, and then just change the damage on everything. Hull breach there, taking out that T-55. This is sort of what we spoke about with T-55s against T-72s being absolutely horrible to fight. This is really not great. Anyway, Lil Goat's actually doing pretty well for himself. Red came up this way, and instead of this way, and so blue actually does own half of mid, even though he has the worst side. Rocket plane's coming back. This is actually not landed, it's just on low altitude. Rocket plane doesn't have the sidewinders. The Cub's still got ammo. It needs to move after it shoots, really. And that could have smoked. He's got smoke. I'm not sure it would have helped, really, because if you just attack position with the rockets, I think you get them anyway. But anyway, this has 30% ECM. And yeah, the wheeled Strellas are generally for sneaking around the side and attacking people. In a stand-up fight, they're going to miss a lot. So they don't have too high accuracy. What you can... the whole point of those is that you would sneak a Conkers and a wheeled Strela around here, and you would literally just park it here. And then the Conker shoots down the road. Oh, he's sending a helo. Wheeled Strela kills it. So that's what it's all about with those. If you just play it as a stand-up fight, then you might as well bring the tracked one, because it's just better at doing that. So you got to be realistic. But yeah, Lil Goat, he's pushing on the right because he figures, what the hell, the tanks are all on the left, the AA is all on the left. I think it makes a lot of sense. These rocket planes are really good. They come up every 16 seconds. Could do with resupplying his Cub and buying another Cub, because he lost so many fighters to just flying over that AA that he's going to have to do some coping. But as we spoke about in the deck review, this doesn't work properly if you're in deep forest. I literally did speak about rockets in the deck review. So, cluster plane. Oh, okay, only gets one. And there you go. So he's still got one MiG-29 left. And it is a very cost-efficient fighter. Just got to pay attention to this, because if it gets to the end of the seconds and you're still over here, then typically they buy a fighter and or an AA piece, a Cub or whatever, and just shoot you. So got to be very careful. Yeah, he really needs to sort this out. Like, 4th is supposed to be the airspan division, and he's getting beaten simply because of his mistakes made over here with that enemy Cub, and then some poor RNG with not hitting the enemy fighters, even though he fired more missiles and whatnot, and they have less ECM. So T-72, I think that was a side shot, actually. Yeah, it must have been, because this is a Voldemort. So this could go on the Adder, I guess. He's brought up a Strela. And keep in mind, he's not vetted these either. Spoke about that in the deck review. I think these should be vetted. You don't need 9 of them. That's a lot. So there you go. The way suppress on miss works is that the missile, as it is passing you, suppresses you. So if you fly in the same direction or the opposite direction, right? So if you fly parallel to the missile, in that case, he was in the same direction, right? It's passing you for a long time because you're also moving in that direction. And so he was actually suppress evac by 1 missile, whereas if he was flying perpendicular, he could have easily, it would have taken 2, basically. Even if he was flying towards it, it would have taken 2, because they would have been near each other for less time, because they're going in opposite directions, as opposed to the same direction. I should do a video on that, just whatever. Anyway, Lil Goat's having some good luck here. Well, I suppose it's not luck, I mean, he's just attacking, it is just fortune. And he's bringing up the CV. In case you remember, he had one here, and he just sort of sent it out into the middle of the map, and it died. I'm not sure what the plan was there, but maybe he wanted to bring it over here, and he just fast-passed it, and it used that road or something. But yeah, he's really struggling against these rocket planes. They just keep killing his infantry. He needs to buy another Cub, or at least resupply the Cub he has, or keep his fighters, like, here. Because, yeah, he's got to be careful of the enemy cub. Seems to be better than his somehow, which is now moving over. So yeah, he just keeps losing parts of his bush, and now there's two T-72s here, so... Okay, it's very optimistic. Acacia purchased, 2 more cubs purchased. You know, keep in mind 4th gets seed as well, although I don't think he can afford it at this point. Definitely can't afford to just drive into a T-72, although he gets out of LOS in time, so that was quite fortunate. And Blue's back on that +2. Thing is, Red can just funnel 10 Gorillion guys in here, so you got to be careful. Yeah, the guy, everybody's very low. I really do think he should resupply his cub, which he's not doing. He's why is that going there? And move the cub up because you're all the way up here. You can now move the cub up to here, or you know, keep it on the rear so you don't get shot. But at least you're closer, so you got more chance of killing them. FS Metis, trying to get that Igla there. T-55s just can't compete with T-72s. It is so depressing trying to fight that. You just take one hit. At least like a Leopard 1, you can outrange them. With the T-55, it tends to be that you can't. Acacia's firing away. And yeah, Red just playing fully reactively. Like, he's got a whole army here that he could be using to attack. Like, he should push up to here. He's got the recon. He can probably see these guys and then shoot all this. This needs healing. He's got a supply. He should heal it. HE Bomber went on the CV. So that's cool. And what happened to that Strela? There was a Strela 10M around here. Must have killed it. Either way, it was a good kill. You got the bomber and whatnot. Does need to not drive into AT range. And there's a helo, rocket helo there helping out. Igla, remember, got pushed back by the Metis. So yeah, this is going cool. He has bought another cub. He has resupplied this cub. And he could, yeah, I was going to say, get some satchels in there. You also want to move somebody around. Like the base T-55s are really good in this scenario. You just put a big wall of them here, and they can generally shoot over to here, I believe. Yeah, they should be able to. Base T-55s are good around this kind of area. You're shooting from here to here, you got to have the max range, right? Because, yeah, the unspeakable ones don't do too much to T-72s. Anyway, he did land that as well. Cub gets a hit. And there you go. So starting to the AA net's starting to work now. But yeah, like what is Red doing? Red's just playing completely reactively. Like he's got all this could be attacking here right now. It could be pressuring all this. He's got a massive T-72s. If he's not going to do anything with them here, why not rotate them around? You know, he's just got a lot of units not doing anything. Whereas Blue is defending. So, you know, they are defensive units, infantry typically. So you can't really move them. Something like this could be, like, so like he should get a unit in here, perhaps, and move this up, and perhaps get this up to here or something, but in general, I mean, it can make sense if you've got fallback position here, but... Okay, so there you go, he is actually trying to get up there. Although he's giving up his defensive position here, you should leave somebody in there if the enemy's literally right there. Anyway, another plane being sent, and you gotta be careful with these, because they've got one armor on the front and side. Right, now you need to try and kill that Igla. Yes. So he's got it landed, actually. Interesting. You can put it on low altitude and it would, you know, whatever. He's getting the supply up, so... Rocket plane coming for the AA. Cub misses. Cub misses. Cub hits. There you go. And then so that was 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6, including the one that died. AA pieces there. And then, yeah, you see the T-55. Sadly, the infantry's gone down, but he should be getting some more in. Yep, some satchel guys coming in, and some, you know, these guys. So it's really weird, right? So the Einsatzgruppe want the AT, right? Whereas the Sprechungstaucher, basically, this is classed as a 5.56 LSW and can actually fire in the same building. So... You want this. He's showing his rear, which is an armoured. That's what I was talking about, being careful. But what the heck? Okay. Got the CV there, apparently. Yeah, basically, you'd want the satchel guys to have the M249s. It just makes more sense for them to have them. But instead, these guys have the M249s. And the guys who want to run up to the enemy and use the satchels and be in the same building as them to use the satchels have the worst MG. So I don't know if that's like an intentional decision, if they actually think about these things when they put them in. Like, we have made the unit not synergize on purpose, so that it's not as strong. Do you know what I mean? Because there are some that synergize really well. So British pioneers, like, they don't have the most HP, but they've got 2 5.56 MMGs. The standard pioneers, I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, yeah, just not really paying attention. Like, so basically, if you've got a helo up, you want a plane circling back here. You don't want to just wait until you get hit and then send the plane out. You want it circling back here, because it gives you more air optics, which keeps you alive. Keep in mind that, you know, these haven't been supplied. So he actually lost 2 helos there, which just didn't have to happen. Another thing he could do is get the 2,800 meter range repairer and just park it here and turn off auto cover so it doesn't go in the forest. And then he could just outrange all of this crap. This needs to withdraw, though. So yeah, by pushing these up without reinforcing this position, he's actually lost this position. Red's had he's actually woken up now. He's realised, oh yeah, why don't I just... Sadly, this is in the wrong building, so it's going to lose its tracking. If he'd put it in here, that would have kept going, and maybe would have side-shot them or something. But yeah, it's going to do a grand total of 1 damage. Now it's dead. So yeah, he moved these up, which can make sense, but you gotta keep guys in here, right? You can't have nobody in here because then they can just walk in, which is what has happened here. So it's a shame, really. Because yeah, it is good to have guys in here, but you gotta leave a defensive force, right? And like, where's the, you know, you should have an ATGM here and whatnot. So now he's just lost this whole zone. And it's a damn shame, because if he just left these here, that wouldn't have happened, because this would have moved forwards and immediately got blown up by the 18 pen RPG. So it's pretty rough. Like, this could be sold and resupplied. This needs a resupply, and there's one right there. Yeah, he just needs to fall back. He's fucked it, basically. So, trying to snipe things again. He's not bought the seed, so the cubs are going to keep killing him. There's like 3 of them now. Yeah, it's a crying shame. Because now he has to keep attacking. Like, he could have... If he'd held this and lost this, well, that's fine. He'd be 1,600 points up, but now the enemy's on a +4. Just got to keep going. He's going for that tank. I told you it could one-shot heavy tanks. Gets 2 of them there. Probably will go down, yeah, but yeah, he got the CV. He just immediately buys another one. Finally got the napalm grad out. Surprised this took so long. Because this is amazing on this map, because there just isn't anywhere to hide. Like, this is 1 napalm grad, 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 this is 1 napalm grad. There's no, you know, same here, same here, same here. It's just so easy to do it. In general, there was a massive deforestation campaign, and it just made MLRS way better because of the way it just cut all the cover out of the maps. It was very, very short-sighted, that decision. But I said I wouldn't keep bringing up the past. Basically, recon used to be terrible, and instead of fixing recon, they just... I say they, I know exactly who was responsible. He just got all the maps deforested. And yeah. So, yeah, going really, really, really badly for Blue now. He made a big mistake, and now he's paying quite heavily for it. Enemies on a +4. Napalm Grad's been purchased, which has killed Red's momentum a lot. Imagine if there were 2 extra T-72s here, these guys wouldn't be getting in. But yeah, losing this because he sent those 2 guys forwards. Like I meant, yeah, send a guy down there, but you know, you gotta leave guys in here. I know he can't hear me. This cub needs resupplying. Rocket planes are back. Napalm Grad on the building, which is not really where you want it, to be honest. And yeah, imagine if this was shooting. That'd be cool, right? In the meantime, Needs to get the seed out, really. Although you'll note that all of these are out of ammo, so he can actually just dive this because he's not being shot. Gets the helo there on his way past. Good sneaky through bit. Should be trying to sneak a Conkers and an AA this way and get them down there, you know. Can try and even get them to like here and whatnot. Put the AA here. It's very powerful behaviour. But yeah, look at this. This is so good on this map. I'm surprised 4th got as far as it did, frankly, but it's looking pretty Jover now. Big red comeback. Some much more forgiving division. 9th East German, just buy the T-72s, buy the T-72, buy the T-72. Wowee. I don't really see the point in 7th East German anymore. It's just a bad version of 9th. They've literally got like the same infantry slots and stuff like that. It's 9th has better T-72s, better RT, better air, I think. No, I think 7th has better air, actually. It's very comparable. It's very similar. So, is this smoke? No, it is HE. So what's the plan, Stan? This guy never got healed. He's just sent... That has been sat there on 2 HP for about 15 minutes with a supply truck next to it, and now he's just sent it in on 2 HP. Thankfully for him, his enemy's regarded and doesn't have any blocking units of his own. Oh, here comes the plane. What can I say? So yeah, there's some smoke mortars. Take the corner here. And yeah, it's smart, right? The enemy's blobbed over here. Well, you attack over here. That's what it's all about when you play in a mobile division. 4th is a motorized division. It is 4th Mott Schutzen, which stands for motorized shooter. So rocket plane coming in. Probably going to get him because he's coming out of the smoke now. So as long as it updates its targeting, it's just okay. Yeah. These are really good. And there's the napalm grad, so this has to react straight away. You need to drive it, reverse it out the zone straight away. Looks like he's chosen to go forwards into the enemy tank. No? Okay, now he's changed his mind. I guess it missed him. Anyway, it's only a +2 now, but, you know, he did send some guys up here, but there's a guy here, and, you know, just got to unload. But yeah, the 9th player stretched himself out quite a bit. There might be so this is smart, bombing here because the Cubs are all the way back here, so you know that this is a safe target, and you know you're not going to get hit. As soon as this smoke fades, he's going to die, so that smoke better keep coming. But yeah, very difficult to deal with the T-72s. That's where you need the those max range AT planes with a seed. Because the Cubs can still intercept them at max range, right? But they're all the way back here, so if you shot at this, you wouldn't actually... You know, and you evac straight away, they wouldn't actually be able to hit you, but you got to evac straight away. It's kind of tricky to time, but if you practice it a bit, you can actually evac it before the missile fires, and it will still fire the missile, and then you get out, and it looks very cool. It's very fulfilling if you do it. In the meantime... This is why you smoke as big an area as possible. It's the same thing with that napalm grad, right? So he thinks it's there, but actually it's not. MiG-29. The Cubs have been resupplied. He does get it. Cubs are going to open up on him, though. That's 3 Cubs. Ooh, only takes 1 hit. 45% accuracy, but 20% ECM, so I think that's about right. I think it's got about 1/3 the accuracy. Has to get back because there's infantry in here now. And yeah, I think blue needs you know, as this is a repairer one, so he could just put this here and it would solve a lot of his problems right here, I suppose. T55 versus T72. Yeah, as you can see, that does 7 damage, and that does about 2. So, okay. So at this point you would stop smoking, because you know there's a guy in there that you need to kill now. So you would just stop smoking, and then you can kill him. And then you would start smoking again. But hey, Blue's managed to stop the tick. The main problem he's got is that he's going to lose a Cub here, because the BMP-2s are just fast-pathing down that road. Lots of Iglas and whatnot, and he's going to be on a -2 soon. This Mott Schutzen needs to get in the same building, or it's going to die. So he could just path that into that building, and then it wouldn't be able to shoot anymore. I can just eat a bunch of rounds, I guess. Okay. What the heck? Like, he messed that up so badly, man. All he had to do was reverse or go forwards. He just turned halfway. It's a good job this missed. Wouldn't have killed him, like, but would have done a lot of damage. Anyway, this is the AT plane I was telling you about. So it's literally got a fire at max range. You don't just dive it over the enemy. Right, so they should evac immediately. No, it's still going. So you just got to evac it straight away. You don't just keep going. Otherwise it gets killed. The whole point is that it's max range. So, yeah, thankfully the Cubs are all the way back here, although that's not going to be the case for long. And yeah, you just fire one missile, right? So, the unspeakable one, which was blocking here, did actually do a good job of blocking the enemy attack. It's blocking some more attacks. That's why I don't like these. 50 points for 3 armor is not ideal. Anyway, you'd expect this to have a CV next to it and be shooting here. This is the sort of thing you use on this. So here we go, 3 AT planes now. The whole point is that they've got 60-second reloads, 30 seconds if you only fire one missile. So the whole point is to call them out, fire one and evac them straight away. If you just leave them here, they're going to have a really, really, really long reload time, and you're losing the advantage of the unit, which is that the missiles are very inaccurate, but you just fire loads of them constantly. So hopefully he evacs these as soon as they launch the missiles. Okay, he's not. But you see that even if you right-click, they still keep going. And I guess the idea was he wanted to launch the second one, but you know, you should just evac and just every 30 seconds a minute passes and whatnot. And like I said, if you time it properly, you can actually evac before the missile fires and it'll still fire. But hey, he got the tank and these guys didn't die, so it's all good. It's just if the red player was playing a bit better, these would be a bit closer and there'd be a CV next to them if there's 3 of them. There's some guys in the transport here. But yeah, T-55s versus T-72s is never going to be ideal, really. As you can see, it's doing like 2 damage, and that's... I missed, actually, but I was doing a lot more. But yeah, just burning all this fuel really increases the resupply time. Also, you know, 4th gets Seed, which would really protect his bombers and his fighters and whatnot. And given how long it's been, I would have expected to see some Seed with these runs. You know, in front of it or behind it, just to soak or to avenge and whatnot. Really useful piece of kit. Here we go. Napalm grad on this. So when this starts shooting, you just need to reverse. You don't like turn this way or whatever. You just reverse straight out of there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20... Okay, infinity. You just didn't notice. I was like, how long is his reaction time going to be? He's just not doing anything. It's a good job this guy stopped the volley after a few shots, or this would be very dead. Anyway, bomber coming in, but the Cubs were moving. How unfortunate is that? How unfortunate is that? Not sure why he did that, actually. I suppose he saw this T-55 here and thought he was probably going to die and whatnot. So yeah, this survives basically because Red interrupted that volley. If he just kept going, this would be very, very, very dead. As for this push here, like, Blue made good gains, but then he sort of just sat out here and just got shot a bunch of times. Whereas if he'd stayed here, or better yet, he's got a smoke mortar. So what you do is you smoke this gap, and then you get the infantry across here, and that's how you get in there. In the meantime, they've still got one of these rocket planes left. They are 3 per card, and they've got 30% ECM, but he's got a lot of value out of that this game. So look, now he's crossing it, but he's not got the smoke cover and whatnot, but I suppose he has to move because everything's on fire now. So. And yeah, the smoke is being used to get this back in, which is cool, but what you can do is, because you own all this, you just hide it behind this building so that they start bombing this, but you're not actually there. And, you know, get an ATGM in here and whatnot. But hey, this is really cool. It's making me want to play 4th. Oh, that didn't. Yeah. That, I mean... Hey, Blue's still on that +2. Or back on that +2. And there you go, there's a napalm. So now he's panicking. You don't panic. You just press it once, because otherwise it keeps turning and whatnot. And there you go. Now you can hide it here. You got to turn off cover, otherwise it'll keep going in the trees, which are on fire. It will literally do that. It's very annoying. So, okay, no. Would love to see some seed from the fourth player. I mean, he's got seed. These cubs, they're not being switched off or anything. They're also not moving. Like, one Acacia, you know, one Acacia. Start hitting everything. Having an Acacia on this map's very useful. But hey, I mean, he's winning. He's on a +4. Red just doesn't have the CVs and whatnot. They're all tracked and slow, and Blue's done a good job of killing all the CVs with the bombers. Red's AA defense has been quite poor. It's like one big blob of cubs somewhere, and if you're going to do that, you should have a CV next to them, because it would upvet all of them. Typically, you want these guys in here. And there you go, the MiG-21 Bis HE get one-shot by the cubs. So, it's just a shame to not see the seed plane. I mean, that would be helping a lot here against these cubs. So yeah, I guess the idea is that these can't shoot from max range if they're in here. So he was trying to move them up to here, and then the T-72 showed up. So yeah, that is a bit unfortunate. Here we go. He's actually still got 2 of these. But yeah, all the Conkers died. Bastions are useful here because they can shoot the full distance. Although the Conkers can as well. That's 2,500 meters. There's basically no reason to put them here. Apart from LOS, I suppose. But even from here, you can shoot. It's just the smoke. MiG-21 Bis HE, I think it got the bombs off. So it accomplished its objective, which was to stop these guys from getting in. Although he's still got 1 HP and this isn't firing again, so maybe not. If you're red at this point, yes, you need to get some CVs in. Otherwise you're going to lose the game. So needs to get one up to here. He's got the zone. So this 1 HP Mott Schutzen's coming in now, and nobody's stopping him. He must have seen it. Because of the recon helo? I guess he just figures, whatever, it's 7 seconds left. Can it kill it in time? 3, 2, 1. No, it cannot. So yeah, really impressive game from the 4th East German player. I know I basically just slated him for the whole game, but he did play very, very well. It's quite rare to see 4th win on that map versus 9th, particularly on the bad side. That's like one of the best maps in the game for 9th. So, Lil Goat, rank 139 with 9 ranked games this season. 618 games total. And, okay. So they actually have a similar number of total games, like 400 versus 600, so they're pretty evenly matched, I'd say. It's just that hippie dividend, you know. Lil Goat shoots down his own... How the hell did that happen? You can call me mayor. I mean, that one makes a lot more sense, but when did that happen? I'm going to have to go check that out. We need the chronology. Looking for... There it is, 1539. I'm going to go watch the replay and check that out. But yeah, I hope you liked that game. It was an interesting game. The 4th player did pretty well. Should have snuck more stuff around the sides, though. That's kind of the whole point of those AA pieces, which aren't as good as the other ones. The whole point is that you sneak around the sides. Otherwise, you might as well just get the better one, because it's slower and does the job better. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. GG.